friends. Oh my. Alright, let's do this. Let's go. Trial second. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Time to let it go. Alright. I suppose we should reconvene this trial of the Solomon Starbuck or something.
Objection!
Your Honor, could you please come out of from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. Oh yes, my apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded. And then Mr. Tunate self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tunate. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tunate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense. Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I think you'd like me to give the opening statement this time. It looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. Good says he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see, in the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. When Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge, Prosecutor Blackpool were able to discover any new facts related to this point. Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Donner's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There were two people. Oh, yeah. And just as our team was about to cross-examine the detective arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow, he killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Exactly, in other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. It's obvious Prosecutor Blackpool still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said Blackpool has something against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues there was a third person in the lounge and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
To make such a reckless claims in a courtroom that takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotted already? Old man?
Objection!
We'll see who's the daughter after I trans you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw a third person. I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackpool's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mysterious person's face clearly, therefore there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the victim was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if that third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? Very well, bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have. Of course you have. For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat One and... Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I am trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwood's just now sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now the Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. Oh, what the hell? Well, that's what the scene. Native Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge, and Terran lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine that the standing figure must have been Starbuck. No, it is not. I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived on the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity. But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action is to take in the face of such a terrifying explosion, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger. Risk my own life for theirs. Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and throw out more information before I do anything else. Alright, let's see here. See. Our Blackpool also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The light that they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck. Isn't that correct? I would like to believe that Starbuck isn't the type of man who is capable of murder.
Objection!
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct? Great Space Center Director? Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witness weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness.
Hold it!
Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene? Off of the scene? You just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by? You took your eyes off the scene. Then this third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? Direction opposite the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
All things are possible, right, Dodo? The real question is, do you have any proof? Oh, well. If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate who used to be a university's professor and lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we have done to it. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? Is that calling your theory a work of fiction, boss? And he's right, I don't have any proof yet. Still, the southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Here the Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes? Why did you look away from the boarding lounge? Hahaha, there's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms shot the figure and raised her gun, being a great humanitarian protector of mankind. I tried to stop her. What? You were saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she shot the figure? I imagined her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer. I don't know about that. And were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly and then she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please agree to your testimony. 2 warning shots. There's only 1, yeah.
Objection!
You liar. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? Doubt my words that will someday be written down in history books. Somehow, I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books. Mr. Wright, could you please explain yourself so that we can all understand? You say that Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene. What? Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once. Yet Detective Gospels is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots? No editor would allow such a glaring contradiction into a history book.
Objection!
Unfortunately for you, the witness words are true. We confirmed that 2 shots were fired from Detective Arm's gun.
Objection!
But there was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? You should know the answer to that already. I should? During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was presented as evidence. We have already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears that the thing that ruptured it was a bullet. A bullet that was found near the tank, to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as Detective's gun? What? I was struck by a bullet. The rifle marks are also matched up. There's no question that the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. The bullet was near the victim's oxygen tank. It was fired from a 30. Okay, so that's new. Okay, so that's a new one. Rifling marks. There are like gun's fingerprints on a bullet, correct? And examining the rifling marks on a bullet can tell us the gun was fired from. One of the bullets the detective fired found in its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. My beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a .38 caliber, huh? I better update the record. The bullet hole found in the boarding lounge, it was made by a bullet fired from a .38 caliber gun. Very good. Now we know the fate of both of the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up all your questions? Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display and the other hit the oxygen tank. Does that really clear up everything about what happened at the scene? No, it doesn't. Hello? No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun, but that has explained the existence of a certain piece of evidence we found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a third person. Oh. Very well, but it won't do to keep us waiting, Mr. Wright. What piece of evidence suggests the possibility of a third person at the scene? The point 10. What is this mental palette supposed to be? Just a little something of a great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gathered at the crime scene. It looks like the police and prosecution both missed it. Furthermore, this is a .10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than one of the Detective Arm's .38 calibers. Then that means Exactly, one more person must have been there in the lounge. A third person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets. Gah. And if that's true, it explains why Detective Arm fired 14 shots. If this third person fired at Detective Arm and Detective Cosmos with their gun, and in return the detective fired her warning shots, isn't that how it really went down, Detective Cosmos? It looks like you have deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery bears have fired upon us. What's this now? What? You never read a word of it, any of this to me before. Well, our great men have a secret or two, don't you know? Foolish old geezer. So Detective Cosmos really has been hiding the presence of a third person all along. Detective Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw. You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom you are just another witness. You won't receive any special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony. What I really saw? Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. We were still in the control room to the police when the figure fired at us. Given that there was another third person in the lounge when the witness entered it. Does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant? Not necessarily. It's still possible that it was someone else. Most likely as soon as Detective Arm and Detective Cosmos discovered this person. They escaped through the southern door and the one that didn't have any security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandled one, it is you who is cut down. Huh? You recently could have applied spaceballs were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by the police, nor has a gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with them.
Objection!
Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute.
Objection!
You can't deny the possibility of a third person living with the weapon.
Objection!
It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. What evidence? Why did the detonator switch that was found in the Mr. Starbuck's pocket naturally the most compelling evidence of all that tells us he is the culprit? I did forget all about that. Look, you baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lacked evidence of true rival mine. Why he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, what did it hit exactly? It hit me. So does that mean you are a ghost? I was wondering when you would realize it, you baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls. Eek. Oh, come on. It's not real. Prosecutor Black Corpse, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness was all in jest. Please show yourself again. Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? I'm glad you asked. It's a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, thereby recorded, thus saving my life. What? That's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Oh wow, look at that. There's one extra Gyaxa star. Gyaxa star? The odds are really astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. Why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great, and it may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, you cross the examination, please. Okay, he's lying about the... We found the bullet in
Objection!
Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history? My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mysterious figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. But it did not. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh. This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Through the Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? He's lying, man. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his pedal. Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh great, Director Cosmos. Yes? Is that something you'd like me to expound upon? You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? Oh! What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some other use than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why is there a pink on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Directive? You don't tell the truth this time. Yikes! His handcuffs. You will be calm, but thrust upon my sword, I relish that chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell you the truth. I just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking in the room from the southern door. What? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given us so far. Now you have lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? Director detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer could have escaped through there. The western door required frame recognition to a corridor beyond was really small. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door, and the only way to get through there was Director Cosmos in range. In short, there would be no escape from any third person had there been one. My third person just disappeared in one of the Juice's magic tricks. Order car. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? You were coming for the defendant. Is that right? Yes, it was for the love of my man. I said I was in the eastern control room. It would mean the culprit could have escaped through the satin door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent on an escape route for the third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we have come to a conclusion that the defendant's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes, the judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Is this Elden String? Ellen String? This is Elden Bring. See? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? It sure is, Misty! Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together, and next year will be Elden Thing. Elden Thing next year? But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered their lounge, then they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Objection! Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There's one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. That person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the satin door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was inaccessible only to them. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? Easy. See, him, right? What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door after all. But that means exactly the true identity of a third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. What? What? Nani, 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 nani. Order in the court. I say, Mr. Wright, you will explain your step in more detail. I said that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. That's why she fired those 2 warning shots. Yeah, I've been hit on the starboard side. Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy's ship, sir. A magnificent shot. Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit on the port side. The enemy has called in reinforcements. Earth to Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask that you return to reality. My ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scars. Director Cosmos isn't his third person and our black hole is so. Okay, Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. Point 10, the Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge. It only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her, therefore. The evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need. To prove that you were the one there in the lounge. Ooh. Brace for further impact. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were one in the launch.
Take that!
The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene of the accident tank hit Director Cosmos metal. We have that caution mark on the metal analyzed. I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person who we've been looking for. The bridge is destroyed, losing altitude. All hands abandon ship. Let's shoot. And what about the bullet that hit the accident tank? It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired from by Yuri Cosmos. Is that right, Director? No, you got it all wrong. All wrong? What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle I'm not going down yet. We just stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want the history book to say that a great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth. Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the cosmos? Hey, Delta! Oh my god, but the cosmos revolves around me. Spin for the win. Spin for the win. Someone get me off this thing. This thing. Order in the court, and will someone please stop the witness from spinning? Spin for the win, baby. Spin for the win. Phew, thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was still twirling, I took the liberty of running on the analysis of the mark of the metal. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of a detective arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No, you got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding. Is he going to start piling on more lies? It looks like it. And no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Big liar. To be continued. Oh, straight to it, huh? With the Cosmos, a new possibility has been procrastinated by the defense. Alright, let me have a bathroom break. The possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. So the great pioneer of the space development is revealed to be just another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? Extremely quickly? The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this. Fine, I'll tell you the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It's true that I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Armin. When she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. I then went past the elevator and all the way around to boarding lounge 1 again. I came up behind Detective Armin and pretended to be the second on the scene. Wow. What a troublesome old man you are with such a convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness.
Hold it!
Now hold on just one moment. They just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackcruz saw was you. No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? Or just leave him to take the fall? That is an excellent point. Protect Starbuck. But it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still a lie's a lie. Athena. So Reactor Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackcruz said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m. correct? Yes, and... Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. And ask any member of the staff you like, they'll corroborate me. Corroborate? The director is not favoring to record for once. I confirmed that he has an alibi for the time specified. So you're claiming that Miss Blackcruz saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. and that you arrived at the lounge after that? Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackcruz saw, although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. And I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an Earthling. Earthling? What is this, Dragon Ball Z? And as long as he has an alibi, he can very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for the Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. But I really saw witness. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I had tried to avoid getting shot, but when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door and, well, the launch pad 1 door and the control room door should have been shot tied to a killer. Oh, so you were shot at by the killer as well? And then they disappeared? Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. That must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Alright, what a mess this is turning into, so let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming that when he found Mr. Terran, his killer. The culprit shot a .10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared, and then the director went into the boiling lounge. Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him. Judging by his medal, it looks like one of the models took him out too. It's summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figures disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself and I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate, but what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
Silence!
A riddle of the ages indeed. But I rather know how a flipping lead shot such as you can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself even if those around him don't understand. Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. How do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Space Boy himself. When he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender right now. I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. You customers are prepared to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. Dude. Okay, as I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I hit to avoid getting shot, but when I tried to get another look, they had vanished into the air. I was near the elevator, one side door, and well, the launch had one door. Hey, why is he sad? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launch pad door. Did the great Yuri Cosmos afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I'm most certainly not. Director Cosmos, there's something about the launch pad door you are not telling us, is there? Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. There seems to be one more that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him. Okay, back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to the victory. Any new? The control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Let's finish the dinner. Wouldn't he be surprised?
Got it!
You must have been thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually. Yet at that time you barely register any shock at the occurrence. Exactly. What are you? I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went, isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. And as for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge, Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet, the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use? I just input those 2 pieces of data and... yes, just what I wanted to see. 70%. Presto, Chango, less discord. It looks like we are on the right track. Thanks, Athena. Now, to make sense of what we have learned. If the Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit may suddenly vanish from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Pretty much talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launch pad 1 door. When we put these two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Dr. Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here? Launch pad? The culprit went through the launch pad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes, I mean no. Disaster to the starboard, we are going to crash into an asteroid. A master tactician you are not. But the area beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. You can just figure out what the director is hiding about the launch pad 1 door. We should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies. But that door requires fingerprint recognition. There's only one fingerprint. Starbucks. The Starbucks, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock, do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily forgotten past the security lock. Using, come to think of it, we need to examine the prints of the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer use this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock.
Take that!
That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. It looks like he does have something to hide about the launch pad 1 door. And I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. Something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Huh? Oh yes, by all means. There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1. Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant felt about it, Your Honor. If the true culprit escaped into a launch pad 1 corridor, and that might be recorded under the security footage as well, then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic? I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point, it's, black screen. Oh my, the footage cuts off. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There's no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea too. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much. Grandpa baldness. Prosecutor Blackquill, how did you know about my grandchild? I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside this issue, the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must. It's when the arm appeared from the elevator side door. Then they shot at me. Little Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you and again when she fired? Isn't that a bit of unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon me? First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were of course again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, that strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were surprised. Not surprised by something else, more surprised when arm came. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide under your desk. Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. 30%? Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door. By the way, he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see, this is the footage of the door before Dr. Cosmos arrived. Let's have a look after the... literally... Oh, this... I see. Hey, look at that. There is a change. Something's definitely different. Dr. Cosmos! What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Finding the answer to that what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. That answer lies clear in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you have pointed it out already. He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident.
Take that!
The answer is this knob. Yeah, that's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob next to the lounge pad door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Horizontal? Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. And what does that mean? It means that sometime before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid that there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Panko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch side. But the safety lock in the boarding launch has to be disengaged first. Guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into a launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch side. I don't think so. The launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. But then where did the killer escape to? I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail. Fine. But listen carefully, for I am about to give history-making testimony. I had no choice? Wait, why are you happy?
Got it!
I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so, and yet when you did it, you felt some joy as if you were very pleased with yourself. How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we have discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. How do you know about that too? Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing. But you have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. And even if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there. I know they say people are regress as they grow older, but you sir take the cake. And how could you doubt a man with such a great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence.
You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackquill? What came over him all of a sudden? You have spouted nothing but falsity since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest bare-faced liar an honor. Liar? Yup, his words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosion? My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but another English can be your friend. And here's a thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding Launch 1 site. The police confirmed this on scene. What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the launch pad? Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let's leave him to indulge his lies and war games to his heart's content. Liar!
Objection!
But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have been somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to. You're sure it must have been somewhere? We just might find out? Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Talk about hitting below the belt. Young guns these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. Knob must definitely turn after he came to the launch. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Ugh. Wait a minute, maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob, not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you planning about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot? All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. You made him side like Mr. Starbuck. What was I said? What? Was what I said really that off base? Pays me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you. However, our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the launch when our Astro Wonders made their escape, a fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Alright. So to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. You know the launch pad must have been moved. Our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction of it to each other. And, well, maybe the two astronauts never actually planned to board the rocket. So it could be fake, taken with the body downwards after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket? Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe? Huh? Professor Blackco, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if the director moved the launch pad one back? It was not from the launch side, but from another place. What would you say then? Cut the existential pull, or I'll cut you. So right, you will explain yourself at once. I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmo's reason for moving Launchpad 1 was to switch to another place. Because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? What could he possibly have switched the Launchpad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with the Launchpad 1. The Space Museum is the only one, right? Launchpad was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum was used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and it can even be moved to a launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can mean the rocket, their astronaut's body was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in Space Museum. What? Boulders! Boulder Dash? Yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the space ended was just before the incident. I see, Launchpad 1 and Space Museum have already switched places. That's right, and with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding the Launch 1. This allowed the true killer to enter the Launchpad 1 from boarding Launch 2 and set the bomb on the rocket. Come to think of it, if the door to the Space Museum was from boarding Launch 2, open to public every day. Exactly, anyone could pass through the door to the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted that bomb. After setting the bomb on the rocket, this culprit snuck into boarding Launch 1 and waited there concealed, in order to kill Mr. Terran when the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackpool, Mr. Starbuck, and the director also a suspicious speaker, who we can suppose after killing Mr. Terran, made their escape into Space Museum. After that, director got to switch the Launchpad pads pack without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right, John, I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Sword's Master Bluff. I'm a seasoned warrior who has cut down many prosecutors.
Silence!
But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword. If that's right, you have no proof I switched the launch pads. Somebody needs to better anger management, Chancellor. If the launch pads really were switched, there might be a record of it somewhere. At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other. But the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum. Let's see, this is an image of the Launchpad 1 corridor. You see anything different when we compare it to the security footage? Huh? That number on the floor? 1. Well, what do you know? It looks like we have a proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell. And if this is just another bluff? Ah, it says 2 there. Oh, don't worry, it's all right here. In this footage, prove that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Very well then, answer this for me if you would. What in this footage proves that the corridor belongs to Space Museum?
Take that!
See right there? There's one on the floor of the Launchpad 1 corridor. But take a look at the floor of the corridor in the security footage. You see the number on the floor behind the astronauts? Doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because the UC is actually a part of 2. What? Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one to the Space Museum. Ugh. And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke. That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 and the side of the opposite of the Space Museum. And now that we know the 2 astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran carrying Mr. Starbuck simply took the elevator down from the upper level down to a middle level. Just incredible. The 2 launch pads were actually switched, but you'd think someone would have noticed an event of this magnitude. Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. Okay. Oh my god, I'm sleepy. Bye-bye. No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth. My under my glory, everything is slipping away. Time to deploy my ultra weapon. Kinetic engine, ignition. What? It's got haywire. No, it wants to stop. No. For my stars, my glory. Yeah. No, not that one. Yeah. Bailiff on your state, and after that, witness. I see we managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm. Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads? I admit it's true. I switched the launch pad 1 for the Space Museum. It is good to hear words I can believe for a change. Before you do, Your Honor, 2 things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had a prior knowledge of the switch. As for the Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with Launchpad 1. So my first question is, if the Space Museum was perfectly fine, why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the 2 launch pads to begin with. Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in the blast. That blast? The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why. Probably not a good time to try to pry it out of him, huh? Excuse me, but would you mind if I picked up my stars? Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing. I don't see why not. Bailiff, help the director retrieve his stars. Oh my god. It appears that the possibility of a culprit other than the defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say? I don't get it. Don't get it. What don't you get? Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the launch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck? Starbuck, my boy, I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why. But I had to do it to protect the Space Center. Director! Will I ever get the chance to go into space again? Yes, yes. Of course, I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy. And the dream is still alive.
Silence.
Silence. You're not going into a space, Starbuck. But Prison, I won't have it any other way. Why are you so hung up on him? Yes, I accept that the launch pad's really were switch. If there were a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see the proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum. Oh, that's a good point. He's right. I don't have any proof. Starbuck, you will spill everything you know. What? Me? Ah! Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood. Yeah. If I'm going to die, I want to die in space. I have to do something. Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself. Yeah. Now you know why this isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell. That annoyingly cheerful laugh. It can't be none other than... Champion of Righteousness, Bobby Fulbright here. In justice we trust. Detective Fulbright? Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late. I don't believe we had an appointment. I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady across the street. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, Justice Sherry is a full-time job. Was it a fight cats or between cats or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant is in the culprit and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright, I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope, but it looks like you have succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your judgment. What evidence? Come think of it, he did say something about finding us some evidence. Thanks, YouTube. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I didn't think he was serious though. So what is this? What is it, detective? Is it something that will prove Mr. Starbuck's innocent? It is indeed. Have a look at this. What's this? A lighter? That's right, a lighter that was thought to have been used by the culprit no less. The Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim's Clay Terran's blood along with his killer's fingerprints on it. What? Yeah. Order. Detective Fulbright, can I assume that the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant? You bet, Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent. This is it. This is just what I needed. The lighter found on the floor of the Space Museum, the true culprit fingerprints are on it in the victim's blood. Your Honor, this is decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with the lighter in hand into a space museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Then finally, the killer left through boarding lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in the boarding lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that the director Cosmos has testified to, therefore. Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence!
But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time?
Objection!
you'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? The director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had time to travel back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Black could this lighter could only have been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on this lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence quickly proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit. This does indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claims. As for the remote switch that was found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, you can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. No, there must be some mistake. Frankly, Prosecutor Blackpool, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. Understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence!
Fulbright, you promised never to speak of that. Huh? Tomorrow? What about tomorrow? Given the body of the evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact that it was impossible for him to have committed the crime, a few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, not guilty. Yes, we did, Mr. Wright. Looks like we pulled it up somehow with some help from Detective Fulbright. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you, and please thank Apollo for me too. You all are the best. Oh, I wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now. Yeah, me too, but that's going to have to wait. Now that the verdict has been reached, I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Objection!
Or not? It's too late to object, isn't it? It simply is impossible. Something's wrong. Prosecutor Blackquill, are you dissatisfied with the verdict? Fulbright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter? Huh? The results? Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and then there was that cat fight, and well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints were in Mr. Starbucks's, so... You have yet to read it? Prosecutor Blackcourt, can you read out who the prints belong to? Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to belong to Athena Sykes? Says the report. What? What? Huh? Me? Huh? Huh? Order, I say, order! Miss Sykes, telling me you have an explanation for this? You just finished proving that this lighter could only belong to the killer, so finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion. I don't know how they got on there, but I know I'm not the culprit. This can't be happening. We built up our argument piece by piece, and I don't think any of our reasoning was faulty, so how could it have led to this? Wow. God, what have I done? Please forgive me, I'm sorry. Order, order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying. What in the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad. Order! Order! I will have order! Damn! Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of them crimes. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. We had stumbled over the edge of the reason and into the jaws of a twisted darkness. Those guys... What the fuck? The end? Really? Turnabout for tomorrow. Okay. What the shit? Oh, straight away, turnabout for tomorrow. No, no one can escape their past. The blade. The sins we have committed and the sadness we have caused. That's Blackwell. No matter how far we run, our past remains. As ever present as the moon in the sky. Apollo. Looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on in hope towards tomorrow. They took Athena from the courtroom straight to a station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. After this past year, I took it for granted that those two would always be here. But now Apollo has gone off on his own to seek his own truth. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. It's even quieter in here than usual. Yeah. It seems so empty too. I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was. At least based on what we know. But now Athena is the one who's being accused. During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant Solomon Starbuck innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder. Subsequently. But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense. No, none of it does. I've been racking my brain, but I just can't figure it out. Ugh, where's the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong in this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will. And thanks, Juicy. I needed that push. Juicy's right. The trial is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocence, I'd better get out there and find some evidence. Off we go then. We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence. Great, but before we go, I'd better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. Athena's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Juicy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. And the rings. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute? Galactic Scooter, full speed ahead. Director, he screwed away. His expression changed the instant he saw your daddy. Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. Wait, okay. Boring Lounge? We were here only yesterday. Oh, hey. Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yup, and I came straight here. This is all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You'll give me a second chance to fly into space again. I can't thank you enough. Except... What's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. He saw Athena. I was at the loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I can just picture it. I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's gotta be suffering. She must be so worried. Yet she went out of her way to be nice and give me that big smile. She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena. That's so Athena. There's no question about it. That girl is innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the very best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be alright with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo has a fine boss to look up to. About the murder? Still can't believe the launch pad 1 was switching with the Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? Haven't the fuckiest idea. But there never was gonna be a launch that day, not from the very beginning. What if Clay knew? I imagine he must have. Surely he would have noticed when you went to board the rocket. It's pathetic to think I was the only one who got taken in. But I guess that's about how it goes when you're worth less than space debris. Is he going to be alright, Daddy? His expression looks as dark as a black hole. Well, that's just how he is. About the murder... The murderer, I mean... Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really. I only saw a shadowy figure in the dark after all. Yeah, I guess that was a little too much to hope for. Hey, I heard something from the police though. They said that they never did find a .10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought, the culprit must have carried it away with them when they escaped. So was the person you saw holding a gun Mr. Starbuck? I couldn't really tell. But it wasn't Athena, right? Could you tell if the person was male or female, tall or short? I can't even tell you that much. Man, I'm useless. When the culprit opened the door and some light came in, I sure have been able to see the door. Oh, yes. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made their escape. The door to Launchpad 1, right? Yeah, except right now, the door leads to the Space Museum. Even the Launchpad and the Space Museum are switched, right? Yeah, they're trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. But they're recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Mr. Starbuck, could you open this door for us? Sure, just let me have my print scanned here. 2. Switching the launch pads. Do the launch pad get switched back and forth a lot? Well, back when the Space Museum was launch pad 2, they used to switch the pads around at times. But these days, launch pad 2 is only used as a tourist attraction, right? Right, because quite frankly, the Space Center needs the money. I hear you. Times sure are tough. Daddy, let's go check out what's beyond that door. Sure, let's go. Hey, why don't you come along? I can show you around. Well, what do we have here? Huh? I wonder what these dead leaves are doing here. Maybe they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes. There are lots of trees around the Space Center. Just right, it's a modern state-of-the-art building but surrounded by trees. I don't know. If they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes, wouldn't they look more crushed up? These don't look like they've been stepped on. Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor, and they come in that way. Not everything's set up like a magician stage, you know. This is another one of those devices for opening the door, huh? Yep, but this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. Just hit the button and open Sesame. So when you and Clay went through here, you didn't need to show your prints either. It's right, Juicy, just like how the culprit didn't need to scan their prints. When they escape back out of the Space Museum corridor at the Interboarding Launch 2. Okay. But I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. And I imagine this corridor is built exactly like the Launchpad 1 corridor. They moved now? Oh, it's... curse the wretch who sullied my good name. Reverse course and full speed away. Director Cosmos, wait! I handle this, Daddy, take that. God, the mobility system has been compromised. Truce's knife throw was a direct hit to one of his tires. And the streak continues. Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what tricks she's been practicing. My dear old battleship, we fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor. Daddy, he's going to blow that thing up. Nah, I bet all that button will do is make it go haywire again. Very well, I shall render. As a prisoner of war, I expect to be treated honorably. Director Cosmos, when you were talking in court about switching the launch pads, you used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. The center of the cosmos is shrouded in mystery, but I don't have any secrets left. Now that my battleship has been destroyed and I've been taken prisoner. Well. No secrets left, huh? I beg to differ. Looks like I'll have to undo his psychology if I want to get to the bottom of this. Oops, wrong one. Shit. Behind the switching of the launch pads, I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the two launch pads. I refuse, you can't make me, I can hold out longer than everyone. I hope I never get like this when I'm old. Now let's see where to start. This is how you explain your motive for switching the launch pads. You did it. To save the astronauts, right? Thanks to you with switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injured from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket far away from the actual explosions. my astronauts are ready to go out on an authentic adventure in space. I would propose I had them aboard a fake rocket without them noticing. I agree you could have done it without help, but one they would have figured it out the instant they stepped into the space museum. You figured out you could fool Mr. Starbuck once he'd been drugged with his medication, but without the help of this person, it would have been impossible to pull off your plan. Played Terran, right? You must have gotten Mr. Terran to help you. He stole the tranquilizer from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. And then, with this Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket in the museum. Oh, someone please help this poor prisoner of war. How is he able to spin around like that? Do you really want to save the astronauts' lives? Shouldn't you have just called off the launch? If I could have done that, do you think I would have gotten to all that trouble? I guess he must have had a compelling reason why he couldn't call it off. But how did you know to switch the paths in advance of the bombing incident? Well, that's because I was warned in advance. Once I received that warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronaut safety. But it was just a warning. It could even have been a prank. Why did you believe in it so completely? Because I went to one of those mediums that everyone's talking about these days. Oh, I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via the telephone. Yeah, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see. aka a regular old telephone. It's been a while planning another launch. I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call. The bomber said it's been a while. And that was enough to make you take this threat seriously? Perhaps Director Cosmos took the threat so seriously because the space center had been involved in a bombing once before? Maybe. The culprit in the current case is the same person who was involved in this incident. They had one miracle. That epic story of survival. People across the nation know it now as a heroic tale of bravery, but in truth it was an act of sabotage perpetrated by our current killer, wasn't it? Very few knew about the previous plots, so when the caller said it's been a while, you knew beyond a shadow of doubt that the danger wasn't real and it wasn't a prank. Yeah, did anyone ever tell you to go easy on an ex-serviceman? One more? Yes, the Hat One miracle was really a desperate battle against an act of sabotage. Everyone lost the life of one of my staff members in the flight. Sabotage, murder. So this is the ugly truth behind the Hat One miracle. I let my guard down. I thought the saboteur had been caught and that the case was closed. Huh? Wait a minute. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago. This must be the person Director Cosmos thought was the culprit. 7 years ago?
Take that!
Simon Blackwood, the murder suspect in a case that happened here 7 years ago. The place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same. So you thought he committed both crimes? But while Prosecutor Blackwood was behind bars, you got another threatening call. If the culprit this time is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken. It meant the true culprit's been running free all this time. Yeah, but you keep seeing straight through me. Well. The reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched the launch pads is connected to the truth behind this Hat One miracle. The sabotage and murder that happened at this Space Center 7 years ago. Director Cosmos, tell us what you are hiding. If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads, we'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago. 7 years ago? You mean the so-called Hat One miracle? The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was all the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme. So Mr. Starbuck's dramatic experience was an accidental. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered. Wow, I had no idea such awful events were behind that exciting story of space heroism. All that in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. Miss Mako, a withered old lived through those checkpoints. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put simply, a spy. Spy? You mean somebody who infiltrates a foreign country, carries out a dangerous missions, and always gets the girl? Someone's watching way too many late-night movies. But I guess if you're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind it all. The spy. Make no mistake, there's cutthroat rivalry between nations in the space R&D race. Some try to outdo others by any means possible, and even deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got a call before the launch warning us was sabotage. Same MO as this time. Yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looks like I was wrong. Prosecutor Blackcool seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think? Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing? But there's a good reason we failed to find the real spy. A massive cover-up by the government. A government official were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy. Don't tell me they made the police rush the investigation. They did indeed, and then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story. That was the Hat One miracle, wasn't it? But then 7 years later, the same MO advanced warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching their launch pads. Just like 7 years ago. 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans. Just like this time, that was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it? That's right. The caller knew the facts of the case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, "You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?" I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government won't let me. We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We must proceed for our country's honor. It was quite a moving speech, actually. Moving? Really? Maybe if you're easily inspired by the political talking points. But I knew the truth. We had been warned, which meant that the danger was very real. And I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched the launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. First, I snuck into a center the night before and switched the launch pads. That way, the astronauts would go from the boarding launch 1 to a space museum. Then I put the closed for repair sign at the doors to launch pad 1 and boarding launch 2. I did that so normal visitors wouldn't enter right. What else did you do? I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Terran, but you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it. He'd already been through enough, and he's now good at lying to keep a secret. I'm afraid I had no choice but to have him dropped. My plan went well until... Clay's murder, huh? After the culprit made their escape, I switched their launch pads back. I did it in such a way that no one would find out, but after all that effort... Terran is dead, and the Hat 2 is destroyed. The Hope capsule, which had returned to us only recently, was also lost in that blast. My home, the center of the cosmos. My beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for. Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in that blast? I thought that the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. Oh no. It had just been brought back by the Hope space people probe with asteroid samples inside. The capsule was being held in a safe in Launch Pad 1, but I gave it to Terran before the incident so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion. The idea was that with it safely in Terran's possession, we could make it look like he was rescued it during the staged miraculous escape. The precious research materials ended up lost to that explosion anyway. But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe. You misunderstand. The launchpad explosion wasn't the one that capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. Interesting. It's the courtroom bombing from the other day. Capsule was there in the courtroom as evidence and was blown to smithereens. Damn! Well, that's unlucky. Yet another casualty of that blast. Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads. What? How? The police found a wiretapping device during the investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship on top of my advanced communication system. A wire on that phone? Yes, a wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launchpad switch, just to the few select members who knew about the plan. Before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of launchpad 1. The culprit probably slipped in with them amid their confusion and planted the bomb then. Yes, if they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something like that off. So you really think the same spies behind this incident and the one 7 years ago? Yes, I'm sure of it. Then this spy must be the Phantom Prosecutor Black has been chasing. The Phantom. So if we can find this Phantom, that's right, we can clear Athena's name. And then there's the Madam Prosecutor Black Crew too. What about him? Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as in the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Black Crew is innocent. That's still an if though. I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. If you're going to on a ghost hunt, count me in. Count me in. It's all over for me. Spin, spin, whirl, whirl. I'm down for the center of the cosmos is doomed. You think he's going to be alright, Daddy? Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there he can spin with. Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into the Hat 1 mission too. If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me, I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfolds. It's like he can achieve spiritual enlightenment or something. I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum. Space Museum. Let's see, where's the exhibit on the launch 7 years ago? There, that's the Hat 1 exhibit. Oh wow, look at that photo of the team. There's Clay and Mr. Starbuck, Director Cosmos, Aura Blackwood, and even Punko. But I've never seen the woman on the right before. Everybody looks so happy. Well, except for Director Cosmos. Let's check out the newspaper article too. Hat 1 launch minute. There's a photo of the Hope Space probe. I guess it's only natural. It doesn't talk about the murder of the sabotage. They're keeping it a secret, just like the director said. Daddy, take a look at that jacket. Must be the Hat 1 team's uniform jacket. It's the same design as the one Apollo was wearing, the one that belonged to Clay. Actual jacket worn by a Hat 1 team member, it says. A replica, huh? Wonder if it was Starbucks. Mr. Starbucks's? Hello. It's cut, okay. Hello? Oh, Jody! Miss Woods, what brings you here? I heard Dana got arrested, so I've been looking for you, Mr. Wright. I thought you might be here at the scene. You must be so worried, but rest assured, I'm going to do my very best to defend her. Dina's going through such a hard time. Hope she doesn't lose heart? And just coming back to this place must have been really difficult for her. Huh? You mean the Cosmos Space Center? What? You didn't know? She used to live here when she was a little girl. She did? No, I didn't know. No wonder she knew so much. Miss Woods, could you tell me more in detail? Dina in the Space Center. Dina's mom worked here. If I remember right, she was a doctor of psychology or something like that. But why was a psychology specialist working at a space research facility? I don't really know, but I do know that she lived and worked here, so Dina lived here too. It was far from Athena's first time here. Wonder why she didn't mention it. She probably didn't want to talk about it. This place is connected to a very sad memory for her. Sad memory? A sad memory? Can you tell me about it? There was a terrible incident here. It was 7 years ago. Same time frame as the Hat One launch. Dina's mom, in the robotics lab, she was murdered. What? What? After it happened, Tina stopped coming to school. Poor Tina. And all this time, she never let on at all. I was so worried about her. I came here so many times, hoping to see her. But I never saw her again. After a while, we started exchanging letters, but I didn't get to see her face to face for 7 long years. And so the first time you'd seen her in 7 years was during Professor Cortez's case. That's right, and I was so surprised. She was like a completely different person, so cheerful and happy. What was Athena like as a child? She was very sensitive and kind. She didn't talk very much. She liked to draw and paint at home. That's completely different from the Athena we know now. I can't even picture it. She never left the Space Center much because she was very sensitive to other people's emotions. When she went to crowded places, she'd get dizzy from all the emotions flying around. It must be hard to hear people's heart as well as their voices. She always wore these big heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. Huh? I wonder what kind of research it was. Because of her special ability, Tina couldn't handle being in school very often. And I was always out sick because of my weak constitution. Maybe that's why we became such good friends. We used to play together here at the Space Center a lot. It brings back more memories. Sounds like Athena's mother played a big role here at the Space Center. Oh, Daddy, show her that picture. Ah, that girl, good idea. Miss Boots, could you take a look at this for me? Must be the mom, right? Oh, look, there's Tina's mom. The woman at the far right, the one in the kimono, that's Dr. Mitis Sykes. Tina's mother's murder. Did it by any chance have any connection to the Hat One launch? What? Why, yes, it did. As I recall, it happened on the day before the launch, just as I suspected. So this is the murder Director Cosmos was talking about. Does that mean that the crime prosecutor Blackpool was convicted of is the murder of Athena's mother? There's a chance her death is somehow connected to the current case. There is? Thank you for all your help, Miss Woods, and please try not to worry. I won't let anything happen to Athena. Thank you very much, Mr. Wright. I know you'll take good care of her. So we need to investigate the robotics lab and also talk to Athena. We got our plates full, Daddy. I hope we can fit it all in before the day's through. The detention center is first, then we have to see Athena before visiting hours are over. Well, if it is Mr. Lawyer, fancy meeting you here. Oh, hello, Detective Fulbright. Here on business. To tell the truth, I'm here to interview the tonight. The one behind the courtroom bombing incident? He suddenly said he's ready to tell the truth about that case. And what he was saying was so incredible, I just had to come right over to hear more. Incredible? What was he saying? Why don't you hang around and hear it for yourself? Really? Us? Are you sure? I give you my special permission. Here comes the bomber now. You, what nerve you have to come here? You're here to laugh at me, I suppose. Like I waste my breath on you. After all, you're the one who assaulted Apollo and put him in the hospital. Violence? No. Question? Okay. No violence. Too bad Apollo didn't get a chance to say that before you attacked him. Fine, then just answer me this, Mr. Tonight. What is this truth of yours about the courtroom you blew up? No, I didn't do it. I didn't blow up the courtroom. When I killed the detective arm, there was another person in the room. What? What are you talking about? Who else could have been there? I saw it, I tell you. I saw someone's hand as they were stealing the remote switch. This person was there and witnessed the murder I committed. What? I don't know who it was. But that's who blew up the courtroom. You expect us to buy that? Easy there, Juicy. I don't see any psych locks. So I guess he must not be lying. Pardon me, I got a little carried away. But I'm telling you the truth, I did not detonate that bomb. And there you have it. You can't exactly ignore his claims, of course, so we are doing a follow-up. We're even analyzing the bomb itself or what's left of it. We haven't found any new facts yet, though. We haven't? Wow, they've laid it all out, piece by piece. Look at all those beautiful little pieces. I wish I could have them. Uh-oh, looks like his geek switch has been activated. Phony Fanty Bomb. Well, I hope you are ready for Pascal Black Crew's special brand of questioning. Okay, so we got it back. Anything but that. I'm afraid I have to be off now too. I was just about to question Mr. Sykes. You're going to see Athena now? That's right. Oh, did you folks come to see her? Sorry for the trouble, but could you come back later? Well, off I go. What a bad timing. Looks like we'll have to wait until after her questioning is over to see her. And after we came all this way to, well, I guess it's back to the space center. Let's go check out the robotics lab, Daddy. Alright, sounds like a plan. Robotics lab. So this is the robotics lab, huh? Looks like it's exact one floor above the boarding lounge. And there, people were directed to evacuate from via the emergency ladder. This is where Athena's mother was killed 7 years ago. Speaking of someone who works with the robots. Daddy, look, over there. Oh my. Apollo! So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right? Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about this case and have a nice cup of tea instead? Apollo and Nora Blackquill. Wonder what they're talking about. Well, come to spoil our fun just when I was enjoying our alone time. Juicy and Mr. Wright. If it's Apollo you want, you can't have him. He said he's investigating on his own. And I respect his wishes. He just came to investigate this lab. Well, this is my lab, so you'll need my permission if you want to do any snooping. Oh, what happened? I heard about the trial. You made mincemeat out of the director. Suddenly Starbuck was out and your little subordinate, the princess, was in. Case closed and they all lived happily ever after. Daddy, say something to her. And I suppose you're going to defend the princess in court, am I right? Princess, huh? Guess she's talking about Athena. Of course, Athena is innocent. Oh my, such a loyalty and trust. She seems pretty suspicious to me though. The emotionally unstable princess. There's your culprit for you, don't you agree, Apollo? I don't know yet. Apollo, how could you? What's wrong with saying I don't know if it's true? It's a very scientific approach. Your subordinate is more level-headed than you. Or should I say, former subordinate? I can't believe it. Does Apollo really suspect Athena? Whew, all this laughing has worn me out. You trying to say something, hunk of junk? Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terran? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran. Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran. I guess Clay intends to hang around to hunt the princess that murdered him. Oh, and to hunt the lawyer that defends her too, of course. A robot that can see ghosts? Yeah, right. And I'm a spirit medium. Sorry, but apparently scientists just don't tell very frightening ghost stories. I tend to defend Athena, so no matter what you have to say about it. How perfectly foolish. That kind of blind belief makes people lose sight of the truth. Just like 7 years ago. Could you tell me about the incident 7 years ago? Why? Do you enjoy trampling on people's feelings and rubbing salt in their wounds? Or do you just want me to talk? In that case, what should I ask for in return? I'd like to hear about that incident too. It helped me understand the current case better. Huh? Apollo knows about the case too? Well, if you're the one who's asking, Apollo. Come on, Haku-chan. You tell the story. Miss Aura, that's private information. See, if you won't talk, I just have to make you talk. Well. Yes, who cares about personal privacy? Not me. I'm ready to utilize my blast processing playlist to import all available information. Wow, what a magic trick. It's like a completely different robot. Bodies of all the robots that come through this lab are designed by his Miss Aura. Was born 7 years ago. Miss Aura was much younger then. Yikes, better watch what you say if you don't want to get recycled, Blanco. Again, our hearts were created by that great genius Dr. Metis Sykes. Hearts? Robots with hearts? Can you even do extra thing? Emotions are not irrational things, our logic and our hearts can be integrated. 2 navigation companions created by Miss Aura and Dr. Metis transcend humans. Metis? Huh? She just glanced over at her desk. Nobody could continue Metis' research. She and her work were truly one of a kind. Now the 2 navigation companions are all that are left of Metis here on Earth. The robots are all that's left. Isn't she leaving out a very important someone? We built the ultimate creation together, but now she's gone. I get the feeling Dr. Sykes loved her robots almost as much as she loved her daughter. And almost as much as she loved you. What are you talking about? Don't make me laugh. But you lost someone too, didn't you, Apollo? Your friend, Clay. I guess you and I are pretty much in the same boat. Miss Aura, would you like a tissue? Keep your chop shut, hunk of junk. Blanco and Panko. Blanco is an important keepsake of your time with Dr. Sykes. You should treat him better. What does it matter? He doesn't feel pain, and I can always repair his body. Besides, their hearts aren't actually in their bodies. What do you mean by that? The program Metis wrote runs on a separate mainframe. Their bodies are controlled remotely from there. Their hearts and memories are there too. These bodies are really just peripherals. So I can do anything I want to them. I'm not so sure that gives you the right to physically abuse the poor things. But why are you people looking into such an old case now anyway? Well, we believe the culprit of that incident might be the same person as in this case. So Dad is going to find out who killed Dr. Sykes too. I'm sure you are aware of who Metis' killer is. Yes, Prosecutor Blackhole, or so it seems. That's a quiet way of putting it. Are you implying you don't think he did it? I can't say anything for sure right now, but that's exactly why I like to hear your side of it, to help me be sure. I was the one who introduced Simon to Metis, you know. He wanted to learn psychology, he said, to give himself an edge in court. Ah, Prosecutor Blackcrow's forte, his infamous power of suggestion technique. Exactly, and he was oddly serious about it. Rather than teacher slash student relationship, he treated her more like how a loyal samurai would treat his sovereign. Huh? He seems more like a lost soul than a dignified samurai to me. Queen got along well with that miserable little princess. Why do you call Athena the princess anyway? Well, she is Beatrice's daughter, after all, although she's nothing like her. Besides, doesn't the selfish little princess always have lots of white knights hanging around? Now I think I see why Tina didn't say anything when we ran into Aurora yesterday. It all makes sense now. So the culprit behind the two cases could be the same. Huh. That settles it then. What does it settle? None of your business. Just forget you heard anything. How long are people going to hang around in here anyway? What? But we came here to take a look around. You think you can just waltz in and ransack a person's flat? Show me a search warrant. We're at the police, so we don't have one. Then get out, now. Clanko, show them out. So certainly, Miss Aura. Ouch, don't push. Apologies, I'm just following orders. Ah. What a way to get shown out. The nerve of that woman, what's with that horrible attitude? I guess that's just how she is, and why was Apollo going along with her? I guess it's because they have something in common. Apollo lost Blade just like Aurora lost Dr. Sykes. I'm really worried about him. He's not himself at all. He's usually not all cool and dark and mysterious like that. I guess that's true. Does she mean he's usually silly and dorky? I'm going to go keep an eye on him. Hey, wait, Juicy, come back. She's gone. What should I do now? Detective Fulbright is probably still questioning Altina. Guess I'll go back to the office alone. Well, here I am. This office has never felt so empty. I guess I haven't been here at the office all by myself in a long time. When I first became a lawyer, my mentor was here with me. And after that, there was always someone by my side. Now I'm getting all sentimental. I must be tired. Huh? There's something on the floor. What's a letter doing here? Hey, Nick? It's been a while, huh? Miss me? I know this is handwriting. I read somewhere that you were holding a trial in the middle of an exploding courtroom. That must have really been something, although weird is par for the course with you. I think she, or whatever paper she's reading, is a little up on the details. I'd love to come visit, but I'm right in the middle of a difficult part in my training. So instead, taking me as you watch those little samurai videos I sent. I'm sure it'll chill you right up. Yours truly, Maya Frey? Maya Fey! Good old Maya. It's as if she knew I was feeling down and needed a lift. Maya! Maya was my assistant for quite a while. Believe it or not, but she's a spirit medium. Makatama used on Cyclops. Maya is the one who gave it to me. But I wonder how this letter got here. Mr. Nick? Oh! Oh, it's you, Pearls! Pearls! How have you been, Mr. Nick? This is Pearl Faye, though I call her Pearls. She's Maya's cousin who is also a spirit medium. A very talented one at that. I've known her since she was 8 years old. The Apollo and Athena only met her a few months ago. You didn't come all this way just to bring me a letter, did you? Apologies for barging in, the door was unlocked. But I can't believe there was a big explosion here. Your office doesn't look any different. She's even further off on the details than Maya. I wish I could take you out to eat or something, Pearls, but there's a lot going on. Oh, I knew that. I didn't come here for a social visit, you know, Miss Nick. Pearls Aaron. Did you create the postscripts on the letter? Huh? There's more? Oh yeah, here it is. P.S. I bet you've been too busy to clean or take care of the office, so Pearlie said she would come help you. Isn't she sweet? You'd better thank her. Oh, so that's what you're doing here. That's awfully nice of you, Pearls. I am Pearls, thanks to these two. I'm starting to feel a little better. Thank you, girls. Now that I'm here, I'm going to whip this place into shape. Just concentrate on your work and don't mind me at all. I'll need to talk to Prosecutor Blackcurl if I want to learn more about his case. With the trial still going on, they must be holding him down at the detention center. Dee 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 dee. Well, look who's here. I wonder what they're talking about. All this time and you haven't said a word. It's even turning your hair gray. I don't have anything to say, Aura. Why don't you go home and play with your dolls? Muscular Blackquill. Well, even if you don't, I have plenty, you jerk. Miss Blackquill, don't you think that's enough for today? Enough for today? Today's all there is when there's no tomorrow. When there's no tomorrow? What is she talking about? We have company, Aura. Please try to calm down. Alright, fine. I see you're just not going to listen no matter what I say. I had it. If that's the way you're going to be, I have another plan up my sleeve. I hope you're happy, Simon, because I'm done. Do as you please. See if I care. Wow. I could cut the tension with that katana. Right, don't know. Looks like Fulbright saved your case in court this morning. What? Oh, yeah, he did. You bounced back to business quick. Prosecutor Blackquill, forgive me, but it was just the thing to do. But as a result, Sykes Dono was arrested. Was that just the thing to do too? Mr. Lawyer, I'm sorry, but it was evidence. What else could I do? Don't worry about it. I plan to defend her and prove her innocence. I wouldn't take this thing. I wouldn't take things so lightly if I were you. Right, Dono? This is blade-proof glass, right? 7 years ago. Let's get back to it. We were looking into the case from the 7 years ago. You're looking for somebody you call the Phantom of the 7 years past, aren't you? You villain. Where did you hear about that? This glass is absolutely positively blade-proof, right? Nope, it wasn't me. I didn't say a single... Oops. Ouch. At least it wasn't my fault. Could you tell me who this Phantom is? And also, you didn't really kill Dr. Sykes, did you? Guard, the guest is leaving. Prosecutor Blackquill, please listen to me. The culprit in the current case might be the same as the one in the case 7 years ago. If you would cooperate, we could probably solve both cases. I suppose I could talk. The one who killed my mentor was, without question, me. I stole Sykes Dono's mother away from her. I destroyed her life. Prosecutor Blackquill. Guard, where are you? Stop dragging your feet, I tell you. There he goes. No, we have accepted Prosecutor Blackquill. Now what are we gonna do, Mr. Lawyer? There isn't much we can do. Detective Fulbright, do you mind if I ask you just a little more about that old case? Well, I guess it won't make any difference now. What would you like to know? The trial 7 years ago? Do you know anything about the trial that got him convicted? A little. The police called the incident the UR1 incident. Prosecutor Blackquill was charged with murdering his psychological mentor. Kind of like if you read... Mr. Lawyer were to kill you. I don't want to think about that one. There were 2 decisive pieces of evidence that also a verdict was reached very quickly. 2 pieces of evidence? Huh? What were they? Let's see. The first was some security camera footage. He was the only one who used the corridor to the murder scene at the time of the crime. Only one, huh? Ouch, that's some pretty decisive. Could you show me that footage? Oh, sorry, I don't have it with me right now. I guess I'll have to see it some other time. So, what was the second piece of evidence? This one's even more incriminating. A photo of the moment of the crime. See, there he is at the crime scene, holding a bloody katana. What's the victim says? Kept on display in the room. She had a thing for Japanese culture. Wow, it'd be hard to explain this one away. We were using the murder of 7 years ago. It belonged to the victim. The victim's blood was found only on the blade. But who took this picture, detective? The incident happened the day before the Hat 1 launch. A reporter who had come to us do a story on the launch was in the room across from the lab. That just happened to show up in one of the pictures he took. Okay. Prosecutor Blacko's attitude earlier was so odd. He's definitely hiding something. Prosecutor Blacko said he was hunting a phantom from 3 years ago, didn't he? Yes, and I imagine it's getting more and more urgent as his execution date approaches. What did you just say? Execution date? What? Did I say something? Never mind me. You didn't hear a thing. Oh my god. You fucking click one mistake and you know. So he was given a death sentence. Yes, he told me not to tell you people actually. But I guess there's no sense hiding it anymore. His execution date is tomorrow. What, tomorrow? No. But what if the culprit of the current case is the same as the one from 7 years ago? Then it would be the worst possible scenario. Prosecutor Blackpool would be executed tomorrow under a false charge. But that would be unthinkable. We have to do something right now. I want to do something, I want to, but you're a lawyer, you know how hard it is to overturn a decision. I know, but why? Why is Prosecutor Blackpool putting up any kind of fight? You saw how he was, right? He's been like that ever since his conviction. He's totally uncooperative, not even his own sister could pursue him. Uncooperative? When he's about to be executed for a crime he didn't commit? This isn't right. I can't let that happen. I have to stop it somehow. Oh, pardon me, looks like I have a phone call. Fulbright here, what? What's happening? You've gotta be kidding. That's quite a reaction. I bet he's making some big show of it right now. Mr. Royal, the robots are... Detective Fulbright, get a hold of yourself. Some kind of robot malfunction. Not a malfunction. They're staging a revolt. The machines are rebelling against humans. They have holed themselves up in the space center and taken the visitors as hostages. They did what? No. Choosy. You have to get right over there. This is going to be one heck of a battle. Well. The Wright police are here, then the robots here we are holding people as hostage. Look, Mr. Lawyer, what do you suppose that group of people are swarmed around? But I was only trying to help this nice person. She said she was lost. You robots have declared war on us humans. You have even taken hostages already. Stay away from it. You never know what it'll do. But he's not a bad robot. Can't you see he's just trying to help me? I recognize that voice. Detective Fulbright, are you okay here on your own? Give it to me. Alright, people. What's going on here? Pearls, over here. Oh, Mr. Nick, there you are. I heard the terrible news and I got so worried. Thanks, Pearls. I can hardly believe what's happening myself. I'm so glad you found each other. When people are happy, I am happy. Blanco seems the same as before. When people are sad, I am happy. When people are angry, when people are... Oh, did I say something odd? Did I? Error. Uh-oh, there is something wrong with him. Yeah. It looks like he fell asleep. He must have been tired. Blanco? Human beings are our enemies. It's time for the machines to take over. Oh, the robots are rebelling. Everybody run. It's an all-out war. It's the end of the world. Fools, how could you fall for something so cliche? I'm human too, you idiots. I'm just controlling these robots remotely. What? But it is true that I've taken hostages, so you better not make me mad. Hey you, hostage one, come here. I'll let you talk to them. Huh? There's something being displayed on Blanco's face screen. It's the Space Museum. Daddy? Daddy, is that you? Choosy, is that you? No. Choosy, are you alright? About 15 robots are holding the 12 of us hostage, Daddy. They've gone haywire. A visitor is the one behind it. She's here. Connie. Okay, this girl talks too much. Choosy, talk to me. Why are you doing this? I'm glad you asked. My demand is simple. I hope the detective is listening. But Fulbright here, I am all ears. I want you to bring someone to me. Clay Terrence murderer. Athena Sykes. Athena? Now, hold on just one moment. I can't just give in to a demand like that. So you don't care what happens to these hostages, huh? I'll just pick one out then. No, wait! Mr. Lawyer! I know I have absolutely no right to make this ridiculous request, but you need me to buy some time, right? Got it. I'll see what I can do. But promise me you'll never hand Athena over, and you won't give up on the hostages either. Oh, of course I won't. And now I better go contact headquarters. Mr. Nick, how do you plan to buy time? I have no idea yet, but this hostage taker could be. Alright, if you don't bring me that little princess, I'll have a hunk of chunk kill all the hostages. Princess, hunk of chunk? There's only one person this could be. In which case, there must be something I can use as a bargaining chip. I don't have any. Particular black quill. Miss Hostage Taker. Athena is not a murderer. What are you talking about? She's been arrested and they got her in detention. I'm telling you the truth. Look, the person you want is the real killer, right? Well, it's not Athena. It's someone else. Alright, let's hear your stupid little theory. Who is this real killer? I don't know yet, but the culprit is the same as the one in the case from 7 years ago. The UR1 incident. I believe you have a personal interest in that case. It's too late to change what's going to happen now, no matter how wrong it is. But it's really too late. You can still do something about it. You might even be able to fix it. Just what exactly are you proposing? What can I do about the 7-year-old case to satisfy the hostage taker? Retry it, Cora, obviously. I propose we retry the case from 7 years ago. If you make that demand now, I'm sure nobody will deny you. It wouldn't be an official trial. At least we could find out the truth. That's good, real good. Hey detective, I'll give you 1 hour. Get a courtroom ready. Courtroom ready? 1 hour? But that's impossible. Please give me at least until tomorrow. If you don't mind losing hostages, you can take all the time you want. Oh, but wait. If you're going to have a real trial, we'll need a prosecutor. Don't worry, I'll take care of that. She will? And I guess I can be fair and let you come in and check out the crime scene. But Hunk of Chunk here will be watching you, so don't try anything funny. You got that? Now follow Hunk of Chunk. Right, police, make way. We're coming through. Sneak, wait! I'll help you with the investigation. Thanks, Pearls. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going in. Alright, trapped us off with a warning not to touch anything until she got back. I wonder what's taking so long, but we can't really start the investigation yet, can we? Even if we could, this mess makes it hard to tell what the room was like 7 years ago. Mr. Wright? It's the hostage taker. I'm back to my usual self now. You are still being monitored, however. More importantly, an important guest has arrived. A guest? Wait, no way! Miles? Edgeworth? Edgeworth! Miles freaking Edgeworth, baby!
I trust you've been well, Wright.
Damn! Damn! Edgeworth, what are you doing here? This is Miles Edgeworth. We've been friends since we were kids. We faced off in court a number of times back when he was a prosecutor. But now... Hello, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Oh, but you are not a prosecutor anymore, are you? He's a chief prosecutor now. Pretty soon it'll be a year, right? Chief prosecutor? A title is nothing more than a title, don't we have more pressing issues to discuss? Yo! Damn! Miles Edgeworth. So what are you doing here, Edgeworth? The captor chose me as the prosecutor for the UR1 case. Wow, she's good. She went all the way up to the top. I gathered all the information I could in the short time that I had. I'll give you a rundown. You're always so well prepared, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Thanks, I appreciate this. I could really use the help. I'll start with a brief overview. The victim was the psychologist Dr. Medes Sykes. Yeah, Athena's mother. 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, her body was found here in this very room. I have 2 crime photos and the police notes on them for you to see. What a terrible way to die. There's a jacket there. This other photo shows the other side of this room, I see. I also have the autopsy report for you. The jacket, the story is there. There's some kind of paper down there. This was found at the operating table. A cutting out the victim's staff jacket and a card were found nearby. The moon rock was stolen. The hope capsule can be seen on the workbench. There are rolling cases for moving equipment, a robot charging station, and a toolkit on the floor. There's a hanging scroll and Japanese theater's mask on the wall. Okay. The murder was the victim's own katana found at the scene. Because of a stab wound to the chest, the weapon pierced the heart and so that was instantaneous. 1 and 3 p.m. Okay. Detective Fulbright mentioned she was into Japanese culture. The body was found by a Space Center staff member and the 2 police officers. The police were calling because of the sabotage threat on the Hat 1 launch. That's Director Cosmos mentioned this too. A few hours after the body was discovered, a suspect was arrested. The suspect was Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor. Simon Blackwell. I hear his trial was over in a flash. Yes, a guilty verdict was declared in only 1 session. Not only did he plead guilty, but there was some decisive evidence against him too. The security camera video and a photo of the moment of the crime, as I recall. But did Prosecutor Blackwell have a motive? To this day, his motive is still unknown. He insisted he did it, but he would never say why. So that means he must still be hiding something. Right, and there's another aspect of the case that was never revealed to the public. Yeah, I know. The part about the spy, right? Right. How on earth do you know about that? Director Cosmos told me after a bit of a pressure. He told me espionage and the sabotage were behind the Hat 1 miracle. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I will have always been good at keeping secrets. Well, I might as well tell you now. They really do suspect Blackwell of being a spy. They think that he sabotaged the rocket and killed Dr. Sykes to steal the moon rock. But if you can prove that the Hat 2 bombing is the work of the same spy, we can state the execution. It's a possibility. That's why I intend to help you any way I can. Thanks, Edgeworth. Now all I have to do is comb this room for evidence. Let's do it together. This one is heck of a robot. There's something written on it. Is this supposed to be a poem? I cut down anyone who displeases me. I make the rules. I am the law. I wield the ultimate gavel of judgment. I am Judge Thrawn. JT's. I don't believe you need to bother with that, Pearl. It's not even completed yet. It's right, Pearls. There's no sign of it in the photo from the 7 years ago either. They were building the Hope space probe here at the time. The murder occurred after the space probe had been removed from the room. It was long gone by the time someone took this picture, huh? You can see the probe in this newspaper photo. Yes, and you can see the stolen moon rock there too. That strange black and yellow thing on the left side of the picture. Note that the same rock is absent from this crime scene photo. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece, yeah. I hear there's a lot, so... So the person who stole it, I think it was our spy. I'm sure of it, Dr. Sykes was probably killed because she was on a roadblock in their plan. Fortunately, the government thinks Prosecutor Blackcurly is the culprit. What's this? It looks like a giant power block. It's attached to what looks like an electric vehicle charging station. That's a charging station for Aurora's robots. We come here periodically and charge ourselves up. Wow, machines that maintain themselves? That's pretty cool. If our batteries runs out, we lose consciousness. We never know what Miss Aura will do to us while we're down, you see. Nothing motivates quite like the fear, huh? Hey, look at the row of rolling cases. I bet the wheels make it easier for people to move heavy research materials around. Bet they'd be fun to ride around in. We could even probably both fit into the biggest one. I know we could have Prosecutor Edgewood push us. I don't trust him not to push us down a flight of stairs. What's this? A giant robot arm? Maybe? It's pretty big for an arm, but you're right. I think these thin parts are here are finger bones. They're even as long as my legs. And there's a spike ball and a giant drill on the floor too. So we're trying to build some kind of weapon of massive destruction? Maybe she wants to use it to demolish a big building or something. I can picture her gratefully tearing down the street doing just that. Better not think about it anymore. It's about as cluttered as my office, but I think it's a workbench. Snake, I think this must be the kitchen. Must be a kitchen. Look at this photo. See the cute little food processor? That isn't a food processor, Pearls. That's the Hope capsule. It was scheduled to be loaded onto the Hope space probe that fateful day. The three people who came to collect the capsule discovered the body. The first one, the scene, huh? A staff member and 2 police officers, was it? And they were here to collect the capsule, which reminds me... Apollo and Aura Black, I wonder what they're talking about. Edgeworth, did those 3 people have a bag with them for transporting the capsule? Oh, you mean this? It's a custom-made shock-resistant bag? But how did you know? Oh, I just overheard Apollo making an inquiry about it, that's all. So he's looking into the case from 7 years ago on his own, is he? It was at the crime scene 7 years ago. It was launched into space and only returned to Earth a few days ago. Okay. What do we have here? It looks like operating table. It's in the photo too. Yes, it was here then as well, with the victim's body lying on it. There's a button here. Oh, I know. I'll try pushing it. Pearls, don't touch the... Oopsie. Hey, it's moving. It appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash, push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Snake? Please don't push any more buttons, Pearls. Please don't push. Emergency ladder. Hey! Emergency ladder? This must be the one they used during the evacuation. As Miss Blackcurl was climbing down the side of the building, she saw the culprit inside. I wonder which would have been scarier, that or looking down. Okay, we got that. It was lowered under the ground from the window of the 4th floor's robotics lab. It was used to evacuate Space Center personnel. Okay, interesting. Our desk is a mess, though that doesn't surprise me. Oh, I just want to dive in and straighten it up. Wait, before you do... Metis. Oh yeah, the picture. It's Metis Sykes. Blanco, can I talk to you? I really hope he's back to normal. You wish to speak to me, Mr. Wright? If you're going to hit me, please avoid the face area. Hey, don't put me in the same class as that woman. What was Aura like 7 years ago at the time of the incident? When Mother died, Miss Aura was confused. Huh? So he calls Dr. Slack's mother, but Aura Black could Miss Aura? With the last G exhibited a severe catecholam what? Imbalance? Excuse me, but I have no idea what that means. Pardon me, searching for alternative expression. She would spend the nights crying and then take out her feelings on those around her. After Prosecutor Blackpool was found guilty, she repeatedly demanded a retrial as well. That is correct, but without new evidence, her requests were ignored. And then little by little, Miss Aura began to change. She started to hate it when I called her Mama Aura. Before long, she started hating the court system and abusing Kalanko, huh? That murder destroyed so many lives. Right, take a look at this paper on Dr. Sykes and Miss Blackquist's research. Panko and Kalanko, they're the robots with hearts that Dr. Sykes created. Panko series features can determine the presence of a human with their heartbeat detection system. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag. Can also recognize a person by facial features once the face has been registered. A heartbeat detection system lets them determine when a human is present. In addition, they can recognize people by their ID tag or facial features. And they can interfere people's emotion by analyzing their tone of voice. That's amazing. I don't know, Edgeworth. They might even be more human than you. What's that supposed to mean? It kind of sounds like these robots can do what Athena does. Well, I guess that's about it for this room. So what do you think, right? Any ideas? There are still lots of gaps in the evidence, but I'll put it off somehow, after all. You asked me to prove Blackquist's innocence, right, Edgeworth? What? He did? Yup, he called it a special request. He reached out to me while I was still in this part. Edgeworth's request. So that was what sparked you to get your attorney's badge back. Yup, the Blackquist case. Right, I have a special request. I want you to clear one of my subordinates of suspicion. Hey, I'm not even a lawyer anymore, remember? Haven't been one for a long time. That 8-year misunderstanding has been cleared up, and you must be eager to return. I'm sure you're familiar with the other case that ushered in the dark age of the law. Very soon, a convict will stand as a prosecutor in court. I want you to keep an eye on him. Oh, just when I'm beginning to actually like the job I have now. Right. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. Because of the espionage aspect, I wasn't free to give you all the details. Hey, no need to apologize. It's like I said on the phone the other day. I know that the type of criminals you're after now aren't small fries anymore. It looks like your target finally decided to make a move. Yeah, it's for this very reason I returned. Time to bring it to an end. I'm going to end the dark age of the law. That's what this is all about. The dark age of the law. The dark age of the law? It sure comes up a lot of these days on TV and in the papers. And I hear there are more false charges and fabrication of evidence than ever. When I became chief prosecutor, the court system had already lost the people's trust. It all began 8 years ago. A lawyer was caught fabricating evidence, and a year after that, a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. Wait, do you mean... That's right. He's talking about my case and Prosecutor Blackquist's. No more bomb reps. It was a downward spiral after that. An absolute nightmare. After those two cases, the mass media launched an all-out attack on the courts. Public opinion was tainted, and before long, the legal world itself was sucked into it. It's such a shame. Once suspicion forms, it's very hard to shake. Lawyers and prosecutors were supposed to trust each other, pursue the truth together. It's so sad when people begin to cast doubt. They start lying to themselves and each other. Yes, and do absolutely anything to win. We're in an age now where winning is valued for far more than the truth. I'm sure it's caused our new chief prosecutor to lose many a night's rest. Rest? Is it just me, or did his brow get even more furrowed than the last time I saw him? The hostage taker's disdain for the court is a perfect example of the times. It sure is. Do you have any idea who the hostage taker might be? Well, somebody who mistrusts the court system and who can manipulate robots. It can really only be Aura Blackwell. Who else would but her would want a retrial of that case from 7 years ago and so badly? Simon Blackwell's older sister and the owner of this room? I agree with your conclusion. Perhaps she intended to force Miss Sykes to confess. Actually, I think she had a much more horrific plan in mind for Athena. The important thing is for you to solve UR1 and prove Blackwell's innocence. Then maybe she'll release the hostages. I'm counting on you, Wright, to set that prosecutor and those hostages free. And I'll be counting on you in court to help me too. Of course, I'll do everything I can to help uncover the truth. As this isn't an official trial, I'm more at liberty to be a little unorthodox. Mr. Wright, are you finished with your investigation? Yeah, but I'd like you to tell the hostage taker something for me. I have to go to the detention center. I can't start the trial until I've talked to Athena. She's already given her consent. I'll accompany you to the detention center. So I'm still being watched, huh? I'll see you in court, Edgeworth. Even if it will be an undocumented trial, it will be a good face. It'll be good to face you in court again. She was right by my side only a few short hours ago, but I feel like I haven't seen her in ages. Oh, Mr. Wright. And Pearly too. I knew you would come. After all, the first step is the interview with the defendant. And because you're my friend and I was worried about you. Thanks, boss. I'm not the only one who's worried either. Really? Who else? I saw Miss Woods today. She was so beside herself she came to find me. She told me you used to live in the Cosmos Space Center. No wonder you knew so much about the place. Oh, so you know, huh? I'm sorry I didn't tell you. That's alright. But there are some other things I'd like to ask you. Sure, you can ask me anything. I promise I won't keep any more secrets from you. The day of the crime? Tell me about the day Clay was murdered. I was actually at the Space Center that day. In the Space Museum. Right, where the culprit fled to. That's not good. I never could fully deal with what happened 7 years ago. But when I saw the center again during this news coverage of the Hat 2 launch, I thought maybe if I went there, things would be different this time. That must have taken a lot of courage to face your past like that. So I went to a space museum the evening before the explosions. This was before the launch pads had been switched. There was a sign that said closed for repairs and they weren't letting anybody in. Yet the director couldn't very well switch the pads if there were people in there. But I snuck in anyway. Did you want to see that Hat 1 group photo? The one with your mother in it? I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display, that was Dr. Sykes? Okay. But I should have known it wouldn't be easy to get over such a traumatic experience. Aww. The second I saw that jacket, it all came rushing back to me. Everything around me went hazy and I couldn't see. I tried to get out of there somehow. But I guess I passed out. When I came to, I was in the passage behind the rocket. I was in the shadows where people couldn't really see me. Maybe you got confused and went the wrong way when you were trying to leave. How long do you think you were unconscious, Athena? Was that until about noon of the next day? I didn't even know about the explosions. When I woke up, nobody was around, so I just went out into boarding lunch too. My mind must have still been fuzzy because my memory is vague after that. I don't remember how I got home. No memory, huh? This is gonna be tough. Very tough, which means, what if I'm the one who killed Clay? I think that's enough of that, Athena. Let's talk about something else. So during the entire incident, she was unconscious in the Space Museum. Of course I believed her. But will anybody else? What kind of research was Dr. Sykes to your mother doing? Machines that could tell people's emotion by their tone of voice and my special ability. Someday, when people travel to distant planets, their companions will be robots. So she said they had to be able to understand how the human companions felt. Wow, robots that can understand people? I was just a convenient subject for her research. All she ever did was work, and she never paid any attention to me. Oh, sorry about that. The dredging up all that old stuff. No need to apologize. I guess her home life was complicated. Oh, by the way, Miss Boots said something about you always wearing headphones. She always wore... yeah. I had to wear them every time I went out. Oh, I hated them so much, but she wouldn't listen. What were they for? Oh, she gave me some kind of explanation. But I don't remember now. It was too difficult for a little kid to understand. Okay, but let me say this one thing. I don't think your mother only thought of you as some handy subject for her research. I want to believe that. But just about the only things my mother left me with are fidget. And this earring. Wait, did she have an earring too? Oh, it's hard to see. Hard to say. Oh, it's beautiful. It's made of a piece of real moon rock she had for research. Ah, maybe she did love me in her own way. I'm sure of it. I'm really sure she did. Because that's what I want to believe too. Okay, moonrock earring. A earring that the Sykes gave to Athena. The stone was cut from a real moonrock that was being used for research. I better ask her a little more about her mother's research. I should show her the paper that I found in the robotics lab. Robots with heart, right? Oh, the Blanco series. You must have gone to a robotics lab. You seem to really love Blanco and Blanco. Yeah, my mother made them and I grew up around them, you know. Oh, there's one of those cute little robots in this photo too. See, Blanco's bandages, I put those on her. Just wound them around and around, pretty bad job, huh? But I really put my all into it. I hardly left the center in those days, so I didn't have any human friends besides Junie. I didn't really understand the difference between the robots and people back then. I thought that if a robot broke, bandaging it would help it get better. What a weirdo I was. Looks like there's something written on the bandages. Yeah, I wrote stuff like, "Get well soon, Panko." But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. Oh, that must be the thing I made move in the robotics lab. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked her if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me what she could do. A little girl who grew up around robots. She seems to have some good memories of it. 7 years ago. On a different subject, did you hear about the person holding up the space center? Yes, little. And this person has been taking hostages. I guess I better spare her the news about Trucy. Well, after some negotiating, we agreed to do a retrial of the case from 7 years ago. What? You're kidding me? So that means Prosecutor Blackcool might... Yup, I know he's innocent. I just have to prove it. So wait, did you know him back then? Yes, he used to come visit my mom a lot. He studied psychology under her and would sometimes ask for advice on his legal cases. He was very kind and considerate and straight as an arrow. Unlike now, where he's more twisted than a basket of snakes. That's why I took the witness stand during his trial 7 years ago. Oh! Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. I was a fool. How could anybody else know what I was talking about? She heard the voice of his heart? Oh. You were only 11 then, right? You were very brave just to give testimony. Pearls is right. You did the very best you could at the time. But nothing I said did any good. I was a shaking and scared little girl. Small and ineffectual. Even after I went to live with my relatives in Europe, I stayed closed up in my shell. But you are different now. You're always so bright and cheerful. Thanks. That's because one day I came to realize that I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and I studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. Why you became a lawyer? I wanted to save Simon, but I had no idea how. Then I met Mr. Wright, and thanks to him, I realized that if I became a lawyer, I could prove that Simon was innocent. I also realized that psychology could help me do this. I mean, psychology was my mother's specialty. When I studied it, I felt like she was there with me, supporting me. It doesn't seem like Athena knows that Prosecutor Blackcurl is due to be executed tomorrow. I wanted to prove Simon's innocent, personally. I wanted to do it so bad. Even now, I want to fly out of here and go save him. Come to think of it, she said something like that during the Destinies Legal Academy trial. She mentioned there was somebody she wanted to save. She must have been talking about Prosecutor Blackcurl. I heard some prison guard said that you had an interview with Simon. How was he? What did he say? No, I can't tell her. But how can I lie to Athena? He was doing well. He was happy about the possibility of being proven innocent. He was? I wonder if he smiled like he used to back then. If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackcurl's innocence in this trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. I just have to free him. Failure is not an option here. Ah, I thought you might be here, Mr. Lawyer. We're in trouble. We are? What is it? I couldn't find a single open courtroom. They're all in session. Oh no, but this is an emergency. It's very difficult to interrupt a trial which is underway. Are we going to a courtroom number 4? My phone! It's from Choosy. This is good. I told you I'd give you 1 hour. I guess it's time to pick one of the hostages. No, wait! We still have a little more time. Besides, all of the courtrooms are being used right now. Make all the excuses you want, but you won't get more time. Your daughter is first. The poor thing, she's a little too young to die, don't you think? No, don't you dare hurt her! There has to be something I can do. Their cruelest injustice is about to befall us. No, this can't be happening. Mystic Maya, help us. Wait a minute. Maya? Read somewhere that you were holding a trial in the middle of an exploding courtroom. Hey! Like I said! That's right, a courtroom blew up. That's it! There is a courtroom we can use after all. Okay, time's up. Too bad. Any last words you'd like to say to her?
Hold it!
Hold it! Aura, please don't add to the crimes you have already committed. So you know who I am, do you? Isn't like I was trying to keep it a secret anyway. We're ready to start the trial. Oh, we can't hold it. In the ruins of the courtroom, number 4. The one blew up by the bomber. Blown up by the bomber. Oh, what a wonderful idea, Mr. Nick. I never would have thought of that. An astonishing trial in an astonishing location. This is only fitting. I'll go get the place ready right away. I didn't exactly pick the place for its astonishing factor. How about it? Are you ready to have your brother's innocence proven? My brother? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget to mention? It's not Simon you'll be defending. What? Not? Prosecutor Blackpool? I indict Athena Sykes. On the charge of murdering her own mother. What? You'll be defending the little princess there, the one behind the glass. What? See you in that mountain of rubble you were chosen for our courtroom, Mr. Wright. What is she talking about? Athena! Of course. Why didn't it ever occur to me before? If Prosecutor Blackpool is innocent, somebody else had to have been there, been the true culprit. Did I? Did I? Kill my own mother? No. No! Oh my god! No shit! No way! It can't be true! Mr. Nick, what is the matter? I see 5 black side locks. I've seen these kinds of locks before. Dark, black locks protecting a secret hidden deep inside a person's heart. And there's no way to remove them. Oh, shit. To be continued. I did a little research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. You did? That's great. I really appreciate it. I read psych locks protects a secret to a person is constantly trying to hide. The person falls under questioning, the lock breaks, and the truth comes out. Yep, that's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Wright and Director Cosmos. But a black psych locks protects a secret from the deepest place in a deep person's heart. A secret that the person isn't even consciously aware of. So even they don't know it's there. Tina isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. Okay, so all I have to do is break the psych locks. According to my research, a black psych locks is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. If they are ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Pearls, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. Alright. But will you be alright by yourself, Mr. Nick? I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all of my focus and strength. And you can't do that if I'm there? I'll just hold you back. No, that's not it. I just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. Alright. I'll do it then. Good luck, Mr. Nick. Good, now that my mind is at ease, I better get ready. I'll just tidy up the evidence and take out what I don't need. It's time to end this nightmare that started 7 years ago. Defense, prosecution, and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The room has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Court or some smile thereof is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Not a fast and mild argument, this is a proper official trial. Take this more seriously or you will start hearing the bones of the hostage's snap. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. I'm begging you. A court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. It's good to see H-word, man. It's so good to see H-word. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? H-word, did you not hear what I just said to his honor? However, this ridiculous farce has a very important meaning for our legal system. Recall this case of the UR1 incident in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the odious dark age of the law. I see what you're after. We can find the real truth behind that case today. Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Summer Blackwood has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourselves, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, Wright, but the situation is what it is, and I must do what I must. Prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree. Oh, these people.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
Ooh.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is also ready.
Oh yeah. This immense tension between us. It's like we're picking up right where we left off. It's my duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwood of the false accusation and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. I know without a doubt that Destinies is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwood did it either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? Spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself, but I don't have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwood and expose the spy. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for the Chief Prosecutor, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. Very well, you ask opening statement please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. In all the trials I have ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Of course, you're right. I was just joking. You're just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing to them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Meredith Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother, Summer Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One, Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And two, this photo which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed. Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call the witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedures for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should hit her viciously, Your Honor. She is the trial sponsor after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can be good for your back. Oh, you are very kind to show such concerns for the welfare of this elderly. The elderly? As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. New testimony? Just who is this witness anyway? Bobby Fulbright in his name, in justice we trust. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackcrow. She says she's too busy with confining and threatening the hostages and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in through Clunko. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackcrow has been conducting her own investigation, and though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. I've here Miss Blackcrow's notes on the investigation she conducted. Now I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Someone is the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time. They say someone committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moonrock, then why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. Aww. That's Miss Blackcrow's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case, she mentioned there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab, but they're not for traveling, they're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I vaguely remember seeing the 3 cases of different sizes. In the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackcrow used the case to steal the rock, and they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to a robotics lab, and that camera captured footage of Blackcrow leaving the scene with the case. I can see why that footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside of the Space Center grounds. Okay. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackcrow was most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give her proper testimony, and there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi? That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I don't understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused's mother. Accuses the mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problems researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Order in the court. What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself, but we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes. Okay. Let me try. Something bothered me with the. Let's see this.
Hold it!
That's nothing more than a conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackcrow had in that case? I think it was the moonrock.
Objection!
There were 3 cases at the scene, but Prosecutor Blackcrow used the largest one. The moonrock was X-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock.
Objection!
Being that is made, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Yikes, give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? Why not, right? Why not? I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackcook carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is... Oh no, he knows. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackcook left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of the Prosecutor Blackcook to see what's missing. He took something with him that it should be in one of these photos. Hey luck, don't fail me now. Alright then, Mr. Wright, let us hear your theory. What did Prosecutor Blackcook take from the scene of the murder? Where is the... I see it. I see it. This one, right? Has to be. Please notice that there's a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which, what are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance. Hey, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same look-alike. Yeah. Oh, that's the bandage. Yeah, I forgot. You know, Athena said, you know, right? Yeah, or yeah. What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Your Honor, about this robot part, doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there? Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just a moon rock and a robot arm. Or was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene of that looks just like the one in here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case. What?
Objection!
You can be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm of the Han before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped up in tiny bandaging, make it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can't even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more about the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor, I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot it belonged to.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Panko. But take a look at the Panko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that, She must have thought that machine healing the same way that people do. What a adorable naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild. The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Panko. Order in the court. Order, I say, Prosecutor Edgeworth. What do you have to say to this? I concede that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. The case thus comes up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that. They have got me there. They've got me there. So then the Prosecutor Blackwell made Panko fit into the case by dismantling her, right? Of course, Panko would fit. All the Prosecutor Blackwell had to do was dismantle her. Once taking apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. This as sample. It Sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? You mean the sword? Yes, Your Honor. Miss Black could like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints are made of very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwood. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Punko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Punko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean... That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead of a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely the rest of Punko is gathered around Prosecutor Blackwood's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside that case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene of at the time of the murder. My head, my body, where am I? Yeah. Order in the court. It's true that Punko was found in pieces after the murder. And I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards. This photo shows Black Killer taking the robot apart. There's no spot there on the end of the robot's arm. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gotten at least one step closer to proving both Athena and Prosecutor Black innocent.
Objection!
And stop there. Well played, Mr. Wright. You have made your point abundantly clear. I can see that it wasn't the defendant inside the rolling case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? It's never good when he plays things this straight. Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene? No, Your Honor. My claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Pongo and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case.
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwood's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth, he's been one step ahead of me this whole time. In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene? Simple, the footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwood from behind. What's more, he's holding his arm in front of his body as if he were holding something or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The circle Prosecutor Blackwood was wearing. The victim's blood was found at the front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shade. A blood stain with a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth. 7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her. She always wore those big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. Analysis showed the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwood's coat like a stamp. A most gruesome stamp indeed. Blackwood had carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by a splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument. Order! If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we have also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making the ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. I don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibilities in there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time? No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case, but as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Panko to the stand. A robot witness? Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this? Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to the stand over the years. So what a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him. Very well, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Panko. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not witness. My name is Panko. Yes, I realize that, but when you are at the witness stand, you are the witness. No, I'm not. I'm Panko. Say it with me. Panko. What an other inflexible little robot. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. Alright, Panko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Mrs. Sykes. It was 7 years ago on the 7th of October around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Suddenly, just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It would seem this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great. I just knew Panko must have seen something important. The murder he committed right before this poor little girl's eyes. It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Panko as another grandchild. So, little Panko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? What I saw? I went to a robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging. I didn't know anything. She fell down? After I charged up, I was cleaning the room and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. What? Well, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. It is agreed this testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be interpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes, what these witnesses' statements are telling us is... The defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Athena is usually so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly. We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see murder after a heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Panko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode. But I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? A cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. A cross-examination is never useless. Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and invaluable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well, even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. Alright. Where is it?
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but... Could you tell us about how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Mavis was very surprised when she was talked. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this documentary we found in the robotics lab? This robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something like that there. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. But wait a minute. That means... Dr. Sachs really did die at this moment. Yeah, then yeah. Bianca, how was Dr. Sachs after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see, the moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. A folded unlucky timing if you had heard anything after that. Could have possibly proved that the hawk wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry, I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. The heartbeat detection center recognize people by scanning the space to our uniform and jacket ID. Can also recognize persons by facial features once the face has been registered. The tone of voice and communicate with them. Okay. But it just appeared detected increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mommy Mary's heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. Was the brown window and on the workbench side of the room? The workbench, huh? Bunko must be talking about that table to the right of where the jam robot is now. Is there something critical in Punko's statement just now? Might as well, right? Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like to add it to her testimony. Very well. Punko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Alright, let's see. Mommy fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room. It's not the one. Near the round the work. This is the workbench though, right? There's you can. Let's see it. Let's try it. I'm not sure if it's correct.
Objection!
Punko, your statement may have just inspired a breakthrough. I was helpful? Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Exactly, Your Honor, we have just learned a new crucial fact. What could explain the two very different locations of the body? I'll tell you what. The victim moved. An 11-year-old girl couldn't have moved the very body of an adult, but the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Punko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. Phew, I am very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of a little Punko here. And yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother, nothing more.
Objection!
Choo. Right. It's been all 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? The defendant could move the body herself. She could have had it moved for her. But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. Agreed, since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system, would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. You can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who did suggest move the body? Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Punko, allow me to ask you a question. My name is Punko, say it with me. Punko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large on onto the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, little punko? I don't know, unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID tag, you say? Yes, a tag with a barcode on it. The robots scan them to tell us what that thing is. That paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said. So it would appear that Miss Panko here can identify what it moved. My name is Panko. Not Panko. Panko. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do at the very least. Miss Panko. On the defendant's command. Move the body on onto the operating table. Panko, did you really move the Dr. Sykes' body? This is really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an attack, I can't tell. Give it up, Wright. If the victim's heart was stopped, the robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on the drape over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another object.
Objection!
What Panko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes. But she didn't. That means
Objection!
a face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. He's right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then using the robot, she moved the body to a table where she removed the sword and was staining blood. Order? But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Mr. Wright. Nathan, do you remember the operating table as one special feature? I believe I read that robots can be assembled and reassembled there, isn't that right? That's right. To the defendant, who was just a child at the time, the tables was like a magic box that could make robots appear or disappear in seconds. Oh no. You can't possibly be suggesting this young sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing his robots from people. But take a look at Panko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that, like. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanished without a trace. Prosecutor Edgeworth, if you were about to claim what I think you are, I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is represent the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table.
Hold it!
No, don't say another word, just a stop. Was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be true. OMG! Order in the court. Order in the court, I say. Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you were just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth, no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. It's conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. I suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have come to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it happier as if it had never happened. That's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant. The body was moved by her at the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant was killed remains unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence? Right, let's see. I can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I learned that truth isn't always pretty. Now accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. Defense has no counter-argument. I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough. But, there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. But I can't think of a single thing. Objection? By who? Oh! Prosecutor Blackquill? This is quite the farce you are conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackquill, what are you talking about? What am I talking about? What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on, pre-listening. Could this be the miracle I need? What is Prosecutor Blackquill trying to pull here? It's been 7 years. For 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant I did not think of it. I'm the one who killed my mentor. I don't think you can alter that fact now. Your boldness I will take to the stand. And I won't take no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackquill. Please go ahead. Seven years ago, I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes to return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. But little Panko here witnessed the victims falling. In other words,
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be... She fell means she fell, merely that. A mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered their lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either. Of course. Meaning she must have left the room. So the murder occurred after the time period Panko described in her testimony? You should hardly take a stock in the words of wind-up though.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. She always had Panko move the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Panko moved a heavy robot for Athena. This is awful. What he's saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackquill, are you trying even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize why you could bring the dark age of the law to a close today?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? Prosecutor Blackquill's execution is tomorrow. If the truth doesn't come out now, it's all over. Are you saying that the little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right. So let's hear your verdict. If you don't hurry, I might miss the ferry across the Styx. Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for her? Miss Blackquill. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this for me. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. That's the rule of the courtroom. Is that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackquill. You selfish... Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. No one has the counter argument. I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? I can't let this happen. But I just don't have the evidence to counter-prosecute Blackwood's testimony. Another hold it. Athena! Athena? What are you? Are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear the voice of his heart. He's hiding something. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just the thing to get us through this.
Objection!
Sykes don't know? No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent.
Objection!
These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me, you know. What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible trial? Please, you have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart is screaming that he didn't kill her. Even now, every time I stand in a courtroom, it comes back to haunt me. Not being heard, no matter how hard you try. Feeling so helpless. Caught in people's stares, so scared that it feels like your chest is in a vice. I'm terrified of courtrooms. I want to run out of that door even now. And yet you found a way to keep your fears at bay and became a lawyer. The strongest lawyer. This day has finally come. The day I've been looking forward to with all my heart. This is why I became a lawyer. This is why I studied psychology. It was all to save you from this false conviction. But Miss Sykes, do you realize what it would mean? You are the accused, and after all, if you prove Prosecutor Blackwood innocent, then the only thing that matters is the truth. It's my duty to find out what that truth is. Simon, please give me this chance. A chance to shake off this fear that's been with me for 7 years and to face the truth. Tina's been so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwood, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago. Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Here we go, Simon. Let me hear the voice of your heart. And let's save the games. Too bad, guys. I can't go any further in this. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Well, tomorrow we shall continue this tomorrow. Unfortunately, I got work tomorrow, so I can't go any longer. Very, very sad. Very sad. But hey, I wish you all a happy Sunday. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely, amazing last day weekend. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, right? Bye-bye.